All right, welcome everyone. I'm so excited for today's training. My name is Kelly Hoover. If we have not met, I'm happy you're here. I know a lot of people will catch this on the replay. This is definitely one that even if you're live, you may want to walk through on the replay. But I just want to say welcome, and I'd love for everyone who is here live to drop in the chat a win for yourself, a win that you have had in the last 7 days. Shout yourself out, do something to say something you're proud of, whether it's you've helped someone or maybe you have, gotten a new teammate or you posted on social media, something that you're proud of yourself about. All right. And so this training is all about how we show up on social media and what we say. All right. So when I was talking to some of the leaders, I was like, this is something I feel like has come up a lot with specific people I'm working with. Is it's like we don't really know how to start. We don't know like exactly what to say. And one of the interesting things that has been happening for me personally, and I know a lot of other people, is instead of constantly reaching out to people, it's a little bit of a switch of having people approach you, right? And that is 100% driven from the content that is being put out there. So we're going to do a little bit of a workshop. Can you guys see, those of you who are on live, can y'all see the link that I posted? I know those of you who are on can, but like Lindsay, Joanne, can you guys see the link or do I need to repost it? It's a Canva link. You can't see it. Okay. I thought that you only can see it when all right, I'm going to repost it. You got it. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. Perfect. So basically what this link is, you guys, is it's just a lot of blank templates for social media just to kind of get yourself organized. I didn't put they're literally just Canva templates. So, but it's something really great for you guys to keep yourself organized after we kind of go through this workshop. So the very first thing that we are going to talk about is social media and how you're showing up and who you're talking to. So the reality is there's not a one size fits all, right? So I would love for y'all to drop in the chat right now. What's the percentage that you're using social media right now to either build your business or jumpstart your business? Is it 100%? Is it I'm doing 50 on social media, 50 in person? Like I would love to know what your percentages are. Okay, great. 85, 75%. So it's really important for Lindsay, for Blair, for all of you that are utilizing social media, or maybe you are like, I'm not using it enough, maybe 10%, maybe you want to use it more. I know some of the conversations I have had is like, I want to use social media, but I've never really built this kind of business. I don't know what to say, right? Well, that all changes today. We're going to give you some answers for it today. So the very first thing you have to know is like, what do you want? Like, how do you want to build this business? For me, it is social media and it's in person, right? But what is happening is the people that are in person with me, they're talking to me about it because they see my social media. So if I looked at my leads from that perspective, I would say that it's like 90, 95% social media. Even though I am very much like an in-person belly to belly kind of girl, but it is really starting from that social media standpoint. So if you want to build this, today's really going to help you. It's going to help you develop a plan on who you're talking to, and it's going to help you develop a plan on what you're saying. All right. Everybody excited about that? So, all right. So the very first thing we're going to do, we're going to really break it down into two steps. The first step is who are we talking to? Right. And here, if you've ever heard the word avatar, you've ever heard the words ideal client, this is somebody, I'm going to ask you guys a few questions. And if you're in a place where you can talk or you can write it out, I would love for you to be able to kind of write this out as I'm asking you these questions. But first, I want you to get in the mindset. So basically, I want you to think about going to your own social media, and you can pull up your phones now and go to your own social media. And I want you to not be yourself for a moment. Okay. I want you to be like someone that you've recently talked to about getting started. And I want you to look at your social media. And I want you to read it as if you're that person. Does your social media speak to that person? Are you helping that person figure out something? Or is your social media about more about me? Is it more about like what I'm doing? Is it more about like serving you? Because the majority of people's social media, that's how we've always used to post, right? It's all about like, I'm telling you guys about this, what I did here and this goal and this. And what we're really wanting to do is we're really wanting to inspire someone. We're really wanting somebody on the other end. But what if we switched it around and we just tweaked our social media a little bit so that it allowed that person to take action? And that action was reaching out to you. That action was thinking that you are the person that can help them with certain things. All right. So our very first thing that we need to do before we can get there is to figure out who that person is. So I'd love to know if you guys have an ideal client or an avatar already. If you do, tell me who they are in the chat. All right. So the ideal client, really, we're going to kind of workshop this and we're going to brain dump. So I want you to think about, who is it that you love to serve? All right. Who is that person? All right. Who is it that every day you can talk to this type of person and you get excited? You're like, I cannot wait for 90 days because I know that person's life is going to be impacted. Who is that? How old are they? Are they a male or are they a female? What is their personality? Like, what are their personality characteristics? What are their values? What is really important to them in life? Family, friends, money, health. What do they love? What are their interests? What are they passionate about? All right, so I want you guys to brain dump some of these things. All right, so Joanne says those who are stuck in menopause, during menopause. So Joanne, I'm going to challenge you to even dig deeper. They're stuck in menopause, but what bothers them about being stuck in menopause? Is there specific things? So I want you to think about, what are they most concerned about when it comes to a health and wellness standpoint, to a longevity standpoint? What are they concerned most about? I also want you to think about, what do they worry about? When they're laying in bed at night, trying to fall asleep, what keeps them up at night? What are they worried about? Is it finances? Is it health? Is it their parents' health? Is it their kids' health? Is it their job? Is it all the things they have to do? Is it they don't feel good about themselves? What do they worry about? So I love this. Stacy said her ideal client is a woman, perimenopause or menopause, 40 to 55, who cares about their health, their appearance, and they want to feel confident in their own skin. That is awesome, Stacy. So I want you guys to kind of brainstorm about these questions. Now I want to go even a little bit deeper, though. I want you guys to think about their pain points, okay? Specifically, like when I say what keeps them up at night, what do they worry about? Like when they are alone, when they are, what is processing in their mind that they want to fix? Most of the time, people in America, we are not sitting here and we're not thinking about all the amazing things that are going right in our lives, right? I wish that we were, but that's not the culture. We're thinking about, how do I fix these things? This is going wrong. How do I do this? I have this problem. All right, so think about that. And then I want you to think about, what are your unique strengths? How do you actually solve this problem? So I love Kiki's. She says, a woman in her early 40s, she's been starting to experience perimenopause symptoms for a while. She hasn't really been sure what is going on, but she's just not feeling like herself. I love that, Kiki. She goes on to say, like, very specific things, okay? Kiki says, I'm the answer she's seeking. Spot on, Kiki. And Blair says, my ideal client is 40 to 55. She's feeling exhausted, gaining weight, hot flashes, saggy skin, not sleeping good, irritable anxiety, hair thinning, menopause. She feels defeated. That's okay. You got it, Kiki. So you guys, this is the kind of thing, this is the kind of what you want. Okay. So for me, my ideal client is a mom who is someone between 35 and 55. They love to have fun with their family, but they're stressed. They're stressed. They feel a little uptight sometimes. They're worried. Maybe they're worried about money. Maybe they're worried about the things going on with their kids. They're worried about just different, like pressures in their life. They don't necessarily feel comfortable in their skin, but they mostly live a healthy life, right? They don't feel that they want to dress up. They want to wear trendy clothes, but every time they walk into their closet, their clothes are tight or they're not fitting, but they're hanging on to that size smaller pants. so they can fit into them, because they know one day they're going to lose weight. One day they're going to get rid of the inflammation. All right. She also is worried. She has shame about some of the food that she eats. All right. She'll eat it and then she'll feel bad about it later. Or she lives really healthy Monday through Friday, and the weekend she lets it go. All right. And then she feels bad about it. She exercises, but it's more of a check the box, let me show up kind of exercise versus a very specific exercise. She's worried about her health, but it's very overwhelming. She has no idea where to start. She just wants things to be easy. So the reason it is so important for you to know who you're talking to is because when you begin to post on social media, or when you start to tweak your social media, you really want to speak to that person. You want to speak to him. You want to speak to her. You want to speak to who that is. You want to solve their pain points. And you know their pain points because you just did a brain dump of all the things. Does anybody have any questions before we kind of move into the next aspect, the next kind of step? I love it, Stacy. So you just realize you're not speaking to the pain points. It's great because here's the thing, Stacy, you are very, you know who your ideal client is, but it's not necessarily that you're showing up speaking to her. So that's a good light bulb moment. Thank you for sharing that. So if no one has any questions about that, this is something that you may not get all your answers right here, but I'm going to challenge you to look at your calendar and to block off in the next 24 hours, 15 minutes, and just brain dump who this is and get into this person's heart. Okay. You can even, if you are a visual person, go to Google and print out a random photo of what this person looks like, put all their characteristics up and put it on your desk, put it on your calendar, put it where you can really visualize who it is that you want to serve. I promise you, it will help you so much in what you say on social media. So the next kind of section we're going to go into, after you kind of know this is the person I'm talking to. Here's the thing. This is all you're going to talk to. In my opinion, you just serve all day this audience. Does that mean that you're not going to help other people? Because I know sometimes when I went down this route and I was like, well, I want to be able to help women who aren't moms. And I want to be able to help the men that these women love, right? I want to be able to help someone who's 30 and someone who's 60. You guys, I'm telling you, you will serve a lot. But when you're thinking about speaking very specific, having a very specific avatar is so helpful, because here's what someone's going to say to you. If you can be consistent with this for 30 to 45 days, they're going to come to you and they're going to say, Tracy, I feel like you're talking to me. Vanessa, I can totally relate to what you said about food noise. You're going to know, and you're going to be like, bam, it's working. Because guess what? You are talking to them. You're talking to that specific person. So a question came in, how do I know who my people are? Do you start by asking questions on social media? So you can definitely, if you need to get clarification on who you want to serve, you can absolutely ask questions. But I want you to think about the person, going back to the very beginning, who is it that you love to serve? This is more not about the people that are already following you. It's more about the people that you want to serve every day. And so an easy way to kind of do that, you can definitely start to ask some questions. And I do think getting clarification by asking those. But it's think about the people in your life. They have the same characteristics and they're showing up over and over and over, right? Those are the characteristics that you love. A lot of times, avatars, ideal clients, you guys, are your former traits, right? They are the former you. If you've made any sort of transition in the last 5 years of your life, and you're like, I'm better today at this than I was 5 years ago, you're probably going to talk to the old you. All right. So think about what that looks like. Why you have a lot of experience there, right? Think about what your expertise is. And so you know who your people are, because these are the people that you love to constantly be around. These are the people that you love to want to help, you want to serve, and the people that you're around the most. So hopefully that gets some specific things. Because the reality is you don't want your social media to choose who you talk to, right? Because that's going to feel forced. You want to choose who you talk to. You want to choose whether, and I promise you, when you get your mind into who she is, who he is, you'll start thinking about it. You're like, oh, okay, like I know that this person has, kids, maybe they have college kids, maybe they have elementary kids, whatever they are. What do people at that age struggle with? And you'll start to like uncover, okay, well, when I was there, this is what I struggled with. Or I have a friend who is there or was there, and this is what they struggled with. And you can absolutely, even if you want to put a social media post out there and give an example, just be like, what, but I guarantee you a lot of people may not say it because people don't really want to know, people are not real great at being vulnerable or giving their negative sides, right? Things that they worry about online. But I think you could ask. I don't think it's a bad idea. And I would probably think that you could get if you did like a social media story post and you put a little question box, that could be helpful. I think people would probably say that more than they would on a post. And just say like, hey, I'm doing some market research. You can call it out. So step number 2 is really like, now that you know who this person is, what do you say? What do you say so that you can speak on your social media? And the whole point is speaking to that person so that they come to you to ask questions. All right. And it doesn't need to all be about peptides. It doesn't need to all be about LEMD, right? Like I'm going to give you guys some ideas, but I'm going to post, again, the link. And if you guys jumped on after I posted it, I'm going to post it again. And then I will post it also in the recording. I'll post it under our weekly where we're posting all the recordings. This is just a generic grouping of social media planners. Okay. You guys can utilize them. Just make a copy of them and copy it in your Canva. And then you can type your little heart away. All right. I like to be very organized with what I am posting. So like, I try to redo mine, especially since LEMD is very new. I am redoing it almost every 30 days, getting even more specific. So like, this is what mine looks like. And I put this example like in there, but it basically gives me very specific things that I'm going to talk about. So my themes are kind of the same. So I'm going to give you kind of an idea. So if you look, first off, you need to kind of figure out, how often do I want to post in 7 days? So for some of us who've been building on social media, posting 5 to 7 days a week is doable. But if you're not used to posting on social media, please don't set yourself up for failure to be like, I'm going to post 7 days a week. I haven't posted in 4 months, but I'm going to start building a business and doing 7 days a week, because that's going to feel hard and it may not feel authentic to you. So maybe start with 3. If you're already doing 3, maybe move to 5. I do think it's a really, really great habit to post once a day. All right. Posting once a day is you saying my business is open. My inbox is open. You are open for conversations. It is a constant reminder that you're there. And the problem sometimes is that a lot of people do not, they don't see your social media, right? It's about 10% of people that are seeing it. So let's say you have 1,000 followers, you're going to have about 100 people see it. And then how many of those are your ideal client, your avatar? How many of those are going to take action? How many times do they need to see a post talking to them before they come to your inbox, before they take action? Quite a few. So this is why the consistency. Okay. And I will tell you, like, I know several people on here have done this. I know for myself, it took about 2 straight weeks and then my inbox was flooded. Right? So don't get discouraged if it's like, well, I did this for a whole week and it didn't happen. So the first thing is to figure out how many days you're going to post. All right. Figure that out. What kind of posts are they going to be? Are you going to make a reel? Are you going to do stories? Are you going to do a still post? If you're posting 5 to 7 days a week, I say you need to do them all. All right. If you don't know how to do a reel, go to YouTube. There's great things there. Just figure it out. Go on. And I'm telling you, don't overthink it, because showing up is much, much better than not showing up in not the perfect reel, not the perfect post is much better than not showing up at all, right? Nobody knows. And oftentimes the ones that you spend 2 minutes making are usually the ones that do really good, right? So please don't overthink this, because I promise you the people watching it are not. They're not analyzing anything. Yes, I love what Blair said. So she says, do reels, share them to your story. Another thing that you can do is, if you talk to your stories a good bit, save that, turn that into a reel. Okay, that's a really good idea, and it's a great use of your time, right? So if you're like answering a question, I do question boxes 2 or 3 times a week. Answering a question, go and save it and then make it into a reel. Okay, it's a really great way to do that. So, all right, so you know how many times a day you're going to post. You have an idea of what you're going to say. It doesn't have to be the same every week, you guys. Don't make this like, too difficult, right? I try to post a reel as much as possible, because that gets the most traction of people who are not following you. But I will also say that I was doing like 7 days of reels, and then I would put a post up and I was like, wow, there are a lot of people who don't watch reels, but they see posts. So I would definitely say mix it up. And here's the other thing. If you're like, okay, I'm going to do reels, posts, and stories, whatever your theme is, talk about it in your stories too. It's okay to do both. Like, it's great, right? It's people watching a reel, then they go watch your story and they're like, oh, okay. Like, I heard her say it in the reel, but now I'm like hearing her explain it in the story. Okay, so here's a few ideas. Again, all of these ideas, make them work for you. This is not a one size fits all. This needs to be what feels good for you, but these are just a few ideas for y'all. So if you're going to post 7 days a week, I would say take 2 days, and talk about a specific pain point that your avatar has, and what type of peptide can solve that for them. And here's the other thing, you guys, you don't ever have to say GLP-1. You don't have to say NAD. You don't have to say the name. I have never once said GLP-1, and I've never once said LEMD. Not one single time. And you can if you want, but you don't have to. You don't have to, because you can say the word peptide. That's a hot and sexy word, right? People are like, well, what is that? What is it? You can use food noise or microdosing or whatever your pain points are, right? That you feel, either your journey, you can talk about, your avatar feels. So think about 2 things from a product standpoint. So maybe take 2 days. Okay, maybe it's not fitting into clothes. Maybe it's food noise. Maybe it's, energy. Maybe it's cellular regeneration from NAD. Whatever it is, take those. Take 1 to 2 days, maybe to talk about myths or debunking something. All right, so here's a great way to figure out what that is. Every question you get, because I know you guys are getting questions. People ask questions all the time. Write them down. That's your post. Every time somebody asks you a question, you take it, you put it in your post bank, and you talk about that. All right. You can rotate them. You can talk about it every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. People ask the same questions. So address them, talk about them, and call it out. So that is a great 1 to 2 days a week. You can do that. You can do 1 day if you want to talk about the business. I know some people are and some people aren't, but if it fits you and what you're doing right now to make a post about the business, do it. Talk about it. If you want to talk about it in your stories, you're like, oh, I'm not ready to do that yet. Whatever fits, but it's a good idea. All right. People are looking to add additional streams of income. You can do 1 day to maybe inspire, to motivate, to think about that to your avatar. Remember, all this is pointing back to our avatar. We're going back to step 1, and we're thinking about what the pain points are of our avatar, and we're speaking to them. So what's something that motivates them? What's something that gets them being like, yes, I want to follow Vanessa more. I want to follow Lindsay more. Like, I want to know more what they're saying, because they just like said something specific to me. It has nothing to do with LEMD. 1 day you can ask an engaging question. Go to Google, go to ChatGPT. It can be simple things like, what's for dinner tonight? What's everybody like? What's your Thanksgiving traditions? You can ask anything. People love to share, y'all. They love to share. And so you can ask an engaging question. I would specifically put an engaging question the day before you're going to put like a very strong post. because that gets your algorithm, like loving you and all of that. You can do another 1 to 2 days. Again, how much you're posting on something personal. Okay. Maybe it's something with your family, something with your kids. Maybe it's something with your animals, whatever. Maybe it's you. Maybe you don't put, maybe you just want to talk very specific about something you're working hard for, and that, you're inspiring your avatar to do that too. Maybe it's something you learned from a book or a podcast, but something on the personal, because here is the thing. People don't want to just see us talk about our peptides. People don't want to just see us show before and afters all the time, right? They want to know who is the person behind the social media posting, right? So show them some vulnerability. Dig into something. Remember, every time before you hit the post button, you're thinking, is my person, my avatar reading this? Is this going to get them to take action? And action can be simply thinking. It may not be inboxing you yet, but it can be just simply making them think. Okay, so those are just some ideas. And what you can do if you're this organized and structured, I know I like to be this way because I don't have time to think about like what I'm going to post. You can assign something to a Monday. You can assign something to a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. However, you can organize it however you want, right? And so you can have those specific days and just rinse and repeat it. Try it for 30 days. See what happens. To you, it may end up boring. You're like, I have talked about food noise 4 times in the last month. I promise you, people like to hear it because they're like, what is food noise? I just literally had a Zoom with somebody this morning and said, the first time I ever heard food noise was when Oprah said it. I was like, I didn't even know Oprah said it. That's amazing, And I was like, I've never heard about food noise till I didn't have it anymore. Right. So it's funny, but that's what attracted her to come to my inbox, because Oprah said food noise, and you heard me talking about food noise. You never know what is going to get people, right? But I know my ideal client struggles with food noise. So yes, repetition wins 100%. Okay. So how are you going to attack this? And how are you going to stay like true to this? If you can, I would encourage you to pick a day of the week, block off an hour, 2 hours if you have it, 30 minutes, whatever you have to give. Plan your content. Okay. I know for me, in an ideal world, Fridays, I will block off 2 hours. I will write all my content for the next week, so I don't have to show up that morning and think like, what am I doing? What am I going to say? And I don't have to do it, so I just don't do anything, right? So if you have time, even if you don't have time to make the content and write it all out and do the reels, get your things, right? Like go on and say, okay, this day I'm going to talk about this. This day I'm going to talk about that. I know Blair will talk about a product and she'll talk about it all week. Right. So she may talk about microdosing and she's going to talk about it all week. She may talk about NAD. She's going to talk about it all week. Figure out from an organization standpoint what works for you. All right. And just do the plan and go on and block it off on your calendar and say, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to talk about. All right. And here's the other thing. Here's a really, really good tip. Rinse and reuse. Okay. I promise you, you're spending time making content. People, they don't think about how many times you have to see or hear something before you really see and hear it and digest it. A lot. It used to be 8 to 12 times. Now I think it's like 13 to 18 times, because we literally are being sold to everywhere we go. Right? Everywhere we go. So, yes, I agree with you, Blair. This is probably, yeah, we will have this recording. So you guys may want to walk through this workshop, because I promise you, I do know a lot of us are doing this kind of strategy. And I do know that, I literally have said to multiple people, this is like knock on wood, but to slow down, because I sometimes have not been able to keep up with the influx of leads. I just need to not post for 2 days. Because if you do this strategy, now I'm not saying the first week it's going to happen, right? But if you do this strategy, I promise you guys, you will have people in your inbox. Don't post and ghost. Get on there, respond to people, engage with people. This is social media. You have to be social, right? You just can't get on there and like not love on people's. But I promise you, if you serve your ideal client and you serve them in the repetitive pain points that they are feeling, they're going to come to you and they're going to think that you're the bee's knees and you know everything, and you're going to be able to help them with so much. You are what is unlocking so much for them. And I promise you that this method will work. if you can stay dedicated to it. And the good thing about it is you don't have to do it 7 days a week. You don't have to do it 5. You do what works for you. All right. And you can take these sort of ideas and scale them to what specifically for you. So I've got right at 30 minutes. Do you guys have any questions? I want to open it up to clarifications, to questions for anyone. No? Okay, awesome. I hope that this was really, really helpful, you guys. We'll definitely have this up. Blair, do you have anything that you want to add on? Nope. Okay, perfect. All right, you guys, thank y'all so much. So glad it was helpful, and we'll have the recording up later today. Thank y'all. Have a good day.